Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the Geek podcast, the only place where I get to just sit down for about an hour or so and just talk to you guys about everything geeky and everything that's happening around in the world of geekness of the week. I really do hope no one has patented the name The Geek Podcast. I really hope I'm the only one who's ever used it, so I can say that it's mine and I own it, and all that junk. So, let's talk. So, how's your day been? Mine's been fine. It's been a hell of a week for stuff. By the way, how fun was it last week with Slava and everything, and the hookah I'm pointing at that you can't exactly see right now because you're on the other half of the camera, but yeah, so that was a thing. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. I really hope you did, because hold on, let me just check something out. I'm boring you guys while I'm trying to look up something. Oh yeah, I got a few more views on my Doctor Who review, and I got an actual like. Oh no, wait, that's not the Doctor Who review. I got a like. Someone actually liked my reaction to How to Train Your Dragon trailer that I did last night. That was a lot of fun. Not a lot of people watched the Doctor Who review, which is a shame, but yeah. So 23 people have actually watched the podcast I did last week with Slava, and it actually has 5 likes. That's a thing. That's actually almost double the number of people that have watched my previous podcast. So yeah, that's an improvement for the better. An improvement for the better. Yeah, that's a word, I guess. I hope a lot of people are going to watch this one, and I hope that I can slowly build up an audience, and maybe we could do these podcasts with guest stars much more of a thing. Alright? I'm trying to work on some more guests, because it's always easier to do these things when there's more than one person on a podcast, because, well, let's be honest, who just wants to watch an hour-long podcast of me just sitting here talking about some random stuff? It's a lot more fun when I have someone sitting with me talking about these things, and it takes a lot of the pressure off of me, and it actually it gives me an insight into those people's lives, stuff that maybe I didn't even know about these people, and it makes for a much better conversation than regular stuff, me just sitting here talking about all the important stuff that happened this week. So what did happen this week? Well, let's start with this. Netflix apparently canceled Marvel's Iron Fist. That's really nothing new. It's old news by now. I think we've actually talked about this with with Slava on the previous one. Yeah, he never watched Iron Fist, by the way, so probably never really bothered him that much. But yeah, it has been recently confirmed that Netflix has also canceled Luke Cage, which is a shocker to me. Really big surprise. I was not expecting that, because, well, I really enjoyed the show, especially the second season. I don't know. Maybe I still prefer the first season over the second one, but either way, I thought it was a very well done show. I liked season 2 more than most people, but apparently, maybe Netflix decided it was not making the numbers that they were projecting it to do, and it wasn't as successful as they were planning for it to be, so they just decided to pull the plug on it. And a lot of people have speculated that this could potentially mean that they're moving towards a potential Heroes for Hire show with Iron Fist and Luke Cage, and a potential Daughters of the Dragon spin-off show with Misty Knight and Colleen Wing. That's always a possibility. I think I said as much in my previous podcast with Slava. I do not believe anymore that that is the case. What I really do think is I think Marvel and Netflix are just renegotiating a deal together to try to move all of their shows onto their streaming service and still have a continuation of that universe, because it's a shame. I mean, and I said as much in my reviews for these two shows individually. I really enjoyed what they did at the end of Iron Fist. I thought that had so much potential going forward. And I also really enjoyed what they did at the end of Luke Cage. I thought it was very interesting. It had a lot of, again, that magic word, potential. But, yeah, it didn't happen. And it sucks that these things got cancelled. And I honestly don't know where exactly they're going with this. I'm going to be keeping my eye out in case they decide to cancel Jessica Jones or The Punisher, which is supposed to have another season. And yeah, I'm especially going to be looking out for my boy Daredevil, because, yeah, that third season, by the way, is amazing. Did you see it? Of course you did. Why didn't you? Why do you... Blah. Anyway, so yeah, I just finished doing a review for Daredevil Season 3. I just need some time to work on it, edit it, and yeah, I even got fully dressed up in a costume for that review in particular, and it's actually really nice. You're probably gonna like it. I hope you will, because I put a lot of effort into that costume. But yeah, it's probably gonna go up after I upload this podcast, because, like I said, it's gonna take some time to work on the editing, to put sound bites, maybe, definitely some music, and especially clips and images, so it would make the review a lot more interesting to watch. But yeah, Daredevil Season 3 was amazing. Easily the best season that Netflix has produced so far, as far as their Marvel content goes, and I pretty much said as much in my review, so yeah, keep your eye out for that. Speaking of reviews, I also reviewed another TV show this week, specifically a TV episode of a show. It was the third episode of the new series of Doctor Who, with a new Doctor and the new companions and the new showrunner and everything in between. So yeah, well, not a lot of people have watched that review, from what I can tell. I recently just now looked at the views count. It's at 6. Yeah, which is better than 0, but yeah, definitely not the reaction that I've been wanting for these Doctor Who episode reviews. By the way, I changed the name from review to recaps, because a review is a much more in-depth conversation about everything that happens, and since it's an episodic thing as opposed to just a seasonal thing like what I just did with the Daredevil stuff, I'm thinking maybe I should just keep it to a minimum of less than 10 minutes, because let's be honest, I can talk about Doctor Who for hours. I basically can talk about any subject for hours. That's why I'm doing these weekly podcasts, so I can let out everything that I have to say on these matters. And yeah, I can literally just discuss what happened in this episode for a very long time, so I decided to just mandate much shorter running time for these reviews slash recaps, and I'll go more in depth in my full season review once the season is this series is over. Problem is, I'm not really getting a lot of positive buzz on these episode reviews slash recaps. Hold on, let me just see. So, episode 3, the recap I just did, had 6 views on it. The second one has 11 views, which is a lot better. And the third one, well, the first one has 10 views on it. So yeah, not very encouraging numbers, I gotta be honest, but like I said, it's better than nothing. And especially since the reaction I did for the honest trailers for Doctor Who has like 300, 400, 500 views, maybe even 600 views so far. And well, it kind of seemed like that every time I uploaded something that had a little something to do with Doctor Who, the reviews just went over the moon. It was crazy. So I was kind of a little bit hoping that the same could be done with the with these episodic reviews. Unfortunately, that is not the case, and I just gotta accept that. Maybe I'll just consider not doing these episodic reviews because it kind of takes a lot out of me to make them. But I love Doctor Who so much that I don't really mind the low views of it. So maybe I'll just continue with it. I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, that's a thing. So let's just talk about this episode, just in case anyone's actually watching this podcast that hasn't watched the review. I think this is one of the best Doctor Who episodes ever that the show has ever been able to produce. Definitely the best of the series so far. This new Jodie Whittaker era, and yeah, it was a tough episode to watch, and I gotta be honest, it was hard because, just to let you guys know, I am very much against racism. Yeah, I know you might, if any of you are actually watching this, but I know you kind of look at me and say, "Oh, you're just a white, privileged male. What do you know about that stuff?" Well, the thing is, I'm actually also Jewish, so yeah, racism towards us kind of comes with the name, but it's not that I haven't experienced racism and bad behavior towards me just because of who I am or what I look like or other factors about me that people just saw as a reason to get at me. So yeah, I understand what people who experience racism go through. Maybe not the same way, obviously, definitely not to the same extent, but I'm not out of the conversation when it comes to experiencing these things firsthand. So I hate racism. If anything, I can say that I'm racist towards is racist people, because I can't stand someone being treated differently, in a negative way at least, because of their skin color or because of their ethnicity or because of their gender or whatever other factor you can attribute to this kind of appalling behavior. So you can tell I'm getting very emotional about this stuff, and what happened in this episode, obviously, it was the story of Rosa Parks, a story that I was familiar with prior to watching this episode. I just wasn't really familiar with the name Rosa Parks. I knew the story that she was a black woman in a time where buses were segregated by color, and white people needed to to sit at the front of the bus, and black people were seated at the back of the bus. And if the bus was getting a little too full, then the black people needed to stand because the white people needed their seats. And there's just the whole fact that black people needed to get on the bus from the front area, pay up, then get off the bus and go to the back door and get on through there. And that was, I mean, I knew it didn't happen. It spoiler alert, it does still happen today. Not very far from where I am sitting right now. In fact, in Jerusalem, and we'll get to that later. But yeah, the whole fact that black people were being treated that way, and it wasn't even that long ago. Obviously, it's longer than I've been on this planet, but I mean, it's less than a century old. Just the fact that this was actually considered state law, that it was approved by anyone. That was, I mean, again, like I said, I can sit around here, talk about it for hours, but yeah, that really did hit me right in my anti-racism heart. And the fact that a show like Doctor Who, that is primarily aimed at families and sometimes even children, the fact that it's such a family-centric show, and I apologize in advance if I'm offending anyone, but the fact that a show like Doctor Who actually respects the source material and, well, the subject matter of what this episode was trying to say, the fact that they went to such an extreme as to drop the N-word during the episode, that was just, it was a game changer for me. It was an eye-opener. It's like, oh my goodness, Doctor Who was willing to go there when other TV shows tackle this subject matter in a lot more subtle way, I suppose. Shows like Supergirl and shows like Legends of Tomorrow, that has had a few episodes in the past that dealt with racism towards African American people to various degrees of success. The show that the fact that a show like Doctor Who, the caliber of Doctor Who, a show with such a huge, decades-long legacy to its name, the fact that they actually respect themselves enough to say that word out loud, because that's the story, that's how people talked in the 1950s. That's how much people, that's how people were treated during that time. The fact that they felt bold enough to drop a word like that multiple times during the episode, might I say. But yeah, this is quite clearly a brand new era of Doctor Who, an era that takes the show a lot more serious than it used to before. Not that previous showrunners have disrespected the material per se. I do think that Russell T Davies, and yes, even Stephen Moffat, I think that those two did a wonderful job bringing the show back for a much more a new fan base, while still keeping it in the same spirit as the original classic series. Yeah, I think those guys did a really good job. But after seeing this episode, I'm convinced that Chris Chibnall, first of all, knows what he's doing, and second of all, he's planning to bring Doctor Who back to the supreme level of prominence that it used to have back in the day. This is really a show that takes all the risks. It doesn't chicken out because of what people might think about it. Yeah, this is a show that takes itself much more serious than other shows on on television right now. So yeah, Doctor Who using the, and I really don't want to say this word out loud, fearing it might offend somebody. And I mean, look at me, I'm just a nobody on YouTube with, 100+ subscribers, and probably no one's gonna even watch this podcast anyway. And I'm still afraid of using that word because of what it might do to some people. So yeah, I'm just no-name nobody, and I'm afraid to use that word. But the fact that a show with millions of viewers around the world took that step forward to bring you the most authentic period piece experience that they can, they should be commended for it. And here's another thing. I've been hearing from a lot of people that they really they really love this new Jodie Whittaker-led series of Doctor Who. People really are responding positively to this show. The level of positivity is something that Doctor Who, unfortunately, hasn't experienced in a very long time. So yeah, every once in a while you get this episode that really just focuses everything around it. And what I'm trying to say is that Doctor Who is in a very good place right now, and here's hoping that it can continue along that road, and maybe people will finally just get over the fact that there's a woman in the lead role. That's people still in 2018 have problems about a sci-fi series that stars a female lead. If people still can't get over that and accept that, they're just backwards thinking idiots. And I mean, in a way, you could argue that that's what this episode was going for. It's time for change. People need to wake up, accept diversity, accept the other, accept that other people can accept that people of color and that people of that women can do anything that a white man can do. And I could even argue that women can do more than men can do, but that's a discussion for a whole other day, and I really don't want to get into it right now. So yeah, Doctor Who, what a shocker! I just spent a lot of time talking about Doctor Who, and I'm looking to see if maybe future episodes, maybe even future seasons of Doctor Who will explore more of what other notable women in history did, because yeah, that's something that maybe should be explored. And now that it has a female doctor, that gives it more reason to. You get what I'm trying to say. So, hold on. Oh, great. Give me a second. Let me just. Let me just grab my my keyboard, and we can see what else happened this week. Because other than the Doctor Who stuff and the Netflix stuff, I don't really remember anything major that happened this week. Something just popped into my mind. So surprise, surprise, SpongeBob SquarePants is actually getting another movie, and what was even more of a surprise, to me at least, is that it's going to be an origin story for SpongeBob. And, yeah. So, I was not expecting that. It's weird. I don't think... by the way, a little known fact about SpongeBob SquarePants. It's actually celebrating its 20th anniversary next year. Think about that. SpongeBob has been around for 20 years. There are children watching SpongeBob today that are younger than the show. I mean, we really just talked about Doctor Who, which is a show that's been around for 50 plus years. It's going to be, oh, wow, it's going to be 55 next month. Doctor Who. Wow, I completely forgot about that. And also, we just talked about Rosa Parks. I mean, she passed away exactly 13 years ago on the day that I shot and uploaded my review. October 24th, I believe. Yeah, so funny how these things happen, but so back to SpongeBob. SpongeBob SquarePants is getting an origin story, and the thing is, why I brought up this this whole issue of well, it's not really an issue, but this whole subject of its age, because I don't think in 20 years we've ever really gotten a true origin story for SpongeBob. From everything I could piece together from sources that I've checked, it appears that this new origin story movie is going to be a story of how SpongeBob came to Bikini Bottom and how he met Patrick and Squidward, what compelled him to get a job in the Krusty Krab. That actually sounds very interesting. And as a fan of SpongeBob, fan of old SpongeBob, I haven't really enjoyed any of the new stuff at all. They just seem to whatever drugs they were on when they were making the original episodes. It seems like they got over it and switched to other types of drugs that I was not a fan of. And yeah, that was just... The first few episodes were fine, I guess, from season 3, I believe. But after that, it just became just too stupid. Even for me. I mean, it was still okay when Mr. Krabs lost his shell and SpongeBob suddenly had nightmares about Krabby Patties. Yeah, fine, I guess. It was okay, but then they had that episode where SpongeBob was getting covered in that green junk, whatever it was, and only Gary can clean him up because he eats that garbage. I kind of enjoyed the medieval episode that they did once. What else kind of stupid stuff they had? The episode where Patrick had a nose. I mean, those were some Class A stupid stuff, and yeah, I just couldn't follow it anymore. It just got too out of the ordinary for me. So, hey, that's just me. And yeah, so maybe I'll watch this new SpongeBob movie when it comes out, because yeah, I really enjoyed the first SpongeBob movie, even though looking back on it, it's probably really not that great overall, but I did enjoy it at the time, and I liked it for what it was. I think it was the only movie I was ever able to just forcibly drag my father to watch movies. Because when I was young, he always kind of made me watch a bunch of movies that I didn't really like, but he kind of felt like he couldn't watch it on his own because he's an adult, and why would an adult be interested in these little animated movies? So he kind of felt like he had to drag me along with him just to sit in the theater so it doesn't look weird that he's just sitting there on his own. So he made me watch that movie Ants with not Woody Harrelson, Woody Allen. Yeah, Woody Allen as an ant, and Sharon Stone and Sylvester Stallone. Yeah. I only saw the movie once, and I thought it was horrible. I mean, it's literally a movie about ants trying to get away from water, and that movie was ironically very dry. I said to myself, how can a movie about water be so dry and lifeless? So yeah, I mean, Woody Allen movies in general are the type of movies that you either love it or you hate it. I really did not like Ants. I hated it, and I still do. And maybe I'm giving it a bit of an unfair judgment because I haven't watched it in years, and to be quite honest, I didn't really want to watch it ever since I saw it for the first time. So yeah, and then he actually dragged me over to watch that other stupid movie about water, Dinosaur. That movie, he got just so hyped for that movie. I mean, it was supposed to be the main attraction to a guided tour that he was doing, because for those of you who don't know, my father is a tour guide, professionally at least, and yeah, he's been that way for over 30 years. Crazy, right? So he arranged this tour for not necessarily family. It was so long ago, so I can't really remember that much. But yeah, it was grandparents and their grandchildren, or something like that. I don't even remember. But I mean, the main attraction of the tour was supposed to be that movie. He actually arranged a screening for all the tour group. And he got so excited, he started buying me all the toys from the movie. He bought me a sticker book from the movie. I might still actually have it somewhere, I don't know. But yeah, he got so excited, way more than me, as you can tell. But yeah, he got so excited for that movie, and I just despised that movie. Again, I said to myself, how can a movie about water be so dry? It was a nightmare. It was a movie about dinosaurs. It was a movie about a family of monkeys that adopted a dinosaur egg that got separated from its nest, and then they actually raised the dinosaur as their own. First of all, that's about the stupidest premise ever. It was an iguanodon, so it was a herbivore, so he didn't eat the monkeys. But yeah, it didn't really help the movie that much, because apparently there was this big migration of all the other dinosaurs. They were trying to find some water somewhere. They were migrating from where they were, which got completely all dried up. They were searching for a new water source, and like I said, a movie about water, which was completely dry. And yeah, there was a Giraffe Titan in there somewhere, a Sticky Moloch, I believe, and obviously the main villain, because it was a few years after Jurassic Park, and I believe it actually came out a year before Jurassic Park 3, and 3 years after The Lost World, Jurassic Park, which is the second Jurassic Park movie. So I guess they couldn't use a T-Rex because that seemed a little cliche, so they used the Carnotaurus as the main villain, which really wasn't all that compelling because he didn't even speak. Not that dinosaurs need to speak, but I mean, it's a movie about talking dinosaurs, and they're talking to a family of talking apes. So why can't the Carnotaurus speak? Is it because he's a carnivore? Anyway, maybe I'm giving this movie a bit of a hard time again because I saw it again about a year or two ago, maybe even 3. But yeah, it wasn't as bad as I remember, but it wasn't really all that good. Just yeah, that's just my opinion, at least. But yeah, I finally got to take my revenge. I took him to another movie about water. Except it wasn't really that dry. I think we actually went to another city to watch it, but yeah, we kind of met this other tour guide lady. Was a friend of him, and she brought her 2 children to see the movie. And I kind of did force him to watch the movie with me. I said, "No, you're staying right here. You're not going anywhere." So yeah, he kind of suffered through it, but hey, that was my turn. So yeah, there it is. New SpongeBob SquarePants movie to be an origin story scored by Hans Zimmer. So I don't think there's anything of note about the actual movie itself. I don't think anyone even knows what the premise of it is, except obviously that it's an origin story for SpongeBob himself. But yeah, this is the exciting part. Scored by Hans Zimmer. So they don't even have a director yet. They're not even sure, or at least I'm not. I don't see anything about the cast coming back for this new movie. But yeah. Oh no! Wait, hold on. Blah 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 blah. Oh no, that's completely unrelated. So yeah, according to Cartoon Brew, president of Paramount Animation, Muriel Soria, revealed that the new SpongeBob SquarePants movie will be an origin story scored by Hans Zimmer. So this actually is not news to me that they're making another SpongeBob movie. I think they mentioned a few years ago, to be honest, that they're making a third big screen SpongeBob movie. Obviously, after the massive success of their previous SpongeBob movie, Sponge Out of Water, I think. But they did mention that they're doing a third SpongeBob movie. And basically, the trail went cold after that. I literally heard nothing about the next SpongeBob movie. Not that I even cared that much, because, like I said, at that point, I was pretty much over SpongeBob. Not over as oh yeah, that's for kids, I'm not watching it. I mean, I still love and cherish the original first 2 seasons, because those were some of the finest moments of my childhood. SpongeBob, to me, was my Doctor Who before I discovered Doctor Who. So yeah, and like I said, I watched the original movie so many times. I mean, a few friends of mine a few months ago saw the first movie, and I kind of pretty much remembered every single line from it, and I quoted every single line during the movie. But like I said, I didn't watch the second one. Maybe I'll give it a shot, because I believe it's on Netflix, and pretty much every time I'm going on Netflix, it just pops out to me, "You might like this." Okay, I might like this, but yeah, you know how Netflix does these things if you do have a Netflix account. So yeah, maybe I'll actually give SpongeBob a chance again. I'm not saying that I'm going back to watch any of the other episodes besides the ones from seasons 1 and 2, because those are the ones that I really like. Those are my SpongeBob in a way. So yeah. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, Hans Zimmer. That's an intriguing one for me, because Hans Zimmer is one of my favorite all-time composers. He did the score for my ultimate favorite, all-time favorite movie of all time. I think I said all-time 3 times in that sentence, but The Lion King. Yeah. He scored The Lion King, and that is a score that can make me cry. Just listening to a few bars from it, from a few notes from it. One of the best movie scores of all time. And he also scored another one of my favorite movie scores in another Disney movie, Pirates of the Caribbean. A lot of people forget that. He did the score for the original Pirates of the Caribbean and all the other subsequent movies that came after, I believe. Or maybe he just did the first one. Hold on, let me just check. He's 61, by the way. I don't know why I mentioned that, but let's see what... is there like a filmography? So yeah. Oh no, that's just Academy. That's the awards. Let's see, Hans Zimmer discography. So yeah, blah 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 blah. I can name a bunch of movies, but nothing that I can really recognize. He did the score for Where Sleeping Dogs Lie. I don't know if you've known that movie. Obviously, there it is, The Lion King. Oh wow! It won the Academy Award, obviously, but I mean, why is that even a question? He did the score for Broken Arrow. That's something. Muppet Treasure Island. I did not know that. I didn't even know he did the score for The Rock. Wow, that's a shocker. The Rock is one of the best movies I've seen in a while. Obviously, it came out 22 years ago. Damn it! But yeah, I only saw it about a year or two ago. Maybe more. I kind of got these things mixed up. Oh, that's right. He also did the score for The Prince of Egypt. I forgot about that. He did the score for Mission Impossible 2 and Gladiator, The Road to El Dorado. Wow, Black Hawk Down. Wow, Pearl Harbor, Hannibal. Interesting. He did the score for The Ring for some reason. The Last Samurai. There it is. Pirates of the Caribbean. Matchstick Man. Oh, I didn't know that. What else? Shark Tale. Wow. I'm really just discovering things. I didn't know he did the score for Madagascar, or Wallace and Gromit, or Batman. Oh yeah. Alright. He did the score for the Christopher Nolan movies. I forgot about that. Because I thought it was... I thought for a second that Danny Elfman did the score for the Nolan Batman movies, but then now seeing that thing, yeah, I remember that Danny Elfman did the score for the Spider-Man movies, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. He did the score for the Da Vinci Code, so that's something. He actually scored the Simpsons movie. Wow, and Kung Fu Panda. Interesting. What else? Angels and Demons, Sherlock Holmes. Oh yeah, the Robert Downey Jr. one. Interesting. Inception. Wow, I must have forgotten about that. Hold on, Megamind. He did the score for Megamind and Rango. Wow. I feel stupid that I didn't even know all this stuff. So yeah. Hold on. Sherlock Holmes again. Madagascar 3. The Dark Knight Rises. Rush. Wow. Oh, that's right. He also did the score for Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. And if I'm not mistaken, he also did the score for Wonder Woman and Justice League. Oh, well, he did the Lone Ranger. That's interesting. 12 Years a Slave. Wow. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Interesting. Interstellar. Obviously, Chappie. Why would you want to be associated with Chappie, the Little Prince? Yep, there it is. Batman v Superman. Inferno. I remember that. Oh yeah, that's Tom Hanks on Hidden Figures. Wow. The Boss Baby. Dunkirk. Blade Runner 2049. Widows. Oh, Dark Phoenix. That's interesting. And obviously, he's doing the score for the next Lion King movie and Wonder Woman 84. Interesting. So, we've learned a bunch of new stuff today on Hans Zimmer. Let's get back to the Spongebob story. So, as I can see here in this news story, it will be produced by Paramount, which is kind of a hit or miss as far as their movies go, but especially to me at least. But yeah, they don't have a director yet. They don't have a writer. They're not even sure if the cast are coming back. But hey, at least we got Hans Zimmer, right? Cause yippee! So, what else can we talk about? We talked about the Netflix stuff, the Doctor Who stuff, and now Spongebob. They're making a remake of Clueless, which is interesting, I guess. If you like that sort of stuff. Blah 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 blah. That's not interesting. Did you guys hear that story that Avengers 4 is going to have a surprise character coming back in flashbacks? So, we're about 45 minutes into this podcast, so I'm going to try to keep it short so we can focus the next 15 minutes on other stuff. But, this is a spoiler stuff, so if you don't want to know about anything about Avengers 4, just skip a few minutes forward and until you see me do this with my hands, so then you'll know that we're done talking about spoilers. So, 3, 2, 1. So, Crossbones. Brock Rumlow, the character that was introduced in Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and basically had a building dropped all over him and became the character known as Crossbones in the follow-up Captain America movie, Captain America: Civil War, played by Frank Grillo. He's the character that pulls off the heist of the dangerous chemical thing at the beginning of the Civil War. He's with that big, bulky outfit with the mask with the skull painted on it and the bones, and yeah, he's the one that fights Captain America, and he says that Bucky is still around, and that's when Cap kind of loses his shit, and he blows himself up and killing a bunch of people in whatever African country it was. I can't even remember. Sorry. But yeah, it looks like Brock Rumlow, played by Frank Grillo, is coming back. He is gonna come back. Obviously, he's dead now, so he's probably gonna come back either as a flashback or using the Tony Stark technology that was also introduced in Civil War, the binary augmented retroframing, or BARF for short. So yeah, they're going to use that technology because it feels like they're really pushing that BARF technology heavily in this new Avengers 4. The Russo brothers did mention in an interview that there was a piece of technology introduced in Captain America: Civil War that will be crucial in defeating Thanos in Avengers 4, so I'm assuming that's... well, me and a lot of people have been assuming that it's BARF, the binarily augmented retroframing technology that Tony Stark introduces in that presentation. So, yeah. We talked about it for about 3 minutes, so I guess it's time to come back now. You can see me waving my hands, so you know we're done talking about spoilers. So, no more spoilers for Avengers 4 as of now. So, what else have we got to talk about? An interesting story. The set of the upcoming Star Wars live-action TV show, The Mandalorian, was reportedly robbed. Although I haven't exactly... I don't really have all the details in front of me, so I don't want to get into it too much. Because... yeah, I might get a few details wrong, so yeah. Just note that it was robbed, apparently, and that's about the end of the matter. So, by the way, I noticed that not a lot of people have checked out my review for First Man. It's got about 3 views on my channel, which is... surprisingly enough, 3 people more than I thought would actually watch it, because, first of all, it's me, so I don't get a lot of views, but Um, yeah. Um, I'm sorry that I keep freezing on certain things mid-sentence because I'm looking at other stuff while I'm talking. So yeah, not a lot of people have watched my review on First Man. I'm assuming that's because not a lot of people have watched First Man to begin with, which is a shame because it's a magnificent movie, one of the best movies I've seen all year, and it really is a shame that people don't take more of an interest in these smaller, less blockbustery biopics, because those movies, those are the movies that go on to win the Oscars, or at least get nominated for the Oscars. And it's a shame that not all people give it the attention that they deserve. But yep, that's life, I guess. Ironically, more people have actually watched my before and after video for First Man than the number of people that actually watched my review. So, well, at least I'm doing something right. So, here's the reason why I just froze mid-sentence a few minutes ago. Apparently, CBS All Access, which is the CBS streaming service, which is where basically you get to see everything CBS related. Mostly, the only place you can get the new Star Trek show, Star Trek Discovery, as well as the upcoming Jean-Luc Picard standalone series, which is currently in development. Apparently, CBS All Access is looking to expand upon its Star Trek library of things. Apparently they're making an animated Star Trek comedy series from the Rick and Morty writers. I honestly have no idea where this concept can go. This sounds fascinating. This sounds equal parts interesting and equal parts stupid. This can go in a lot of different directions. I'm really curious as to where it could possibly go. By the way, I gotta be honest, I'm not really the biggest Star Trek fan in the world. I enjoy Star Trek at times. I despise Star Trek most of the time. I really haven't connected with Star Trek on the same level that I did with, say, Star Wars or especially Doctor Who. I just think this show is a pretty blatant American rip-off of Doctor Who, and it's very noticeable if you watch the original 1960s series. It's basically everything that Doctor Who has already done in the 60s. The Star Trek people tried to do, but they tried to Americanize it, and it just didn't work, and it came out being really stupid. Over time, I kind of did warm up to the original series. It was a little too late for me by that time, but yeah. Then I started watching Star Trek: The Next Generation, and it was even worse than the original series. I can't stand most of the show. There are some exceptionally good episodes. Those episodes I enjoy, but first of all, the acting's terrible. I mean, let's be honest. Star Trek has some of the worst acting in television history, despite having some of the best actors in history. I mean, William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, George Takei, oh my, Patrick freaking Stewart. They've got some of the best all-time actors in the world. And I don't know what is it about that show, but the acting on that show is horrendous. Seriously. Especially, and it's even frustrating because it's coming from actors that you know are capable of better than what they're giving you on that show. And it's just, it infuriates me. And whenever, especially, and that, when they're not trying to act too heavily, it's okay. But when they're giving these sort of spotlight moments where the actor is supposedly meant to shine, they just do it horribly, and it just falls flat on its face, and yeah, it's embarrassing, really, and it's something that you don't really expect from actors of that level. So yeah, I've watched all of the original series. I've watched the animated series as well, because yes, there's a Star Trek animated series in the 70s, I believe. I've watched the original 6 movies with Captain Kirk, and I've watched the 4 movies with Picard. The movies are great. The movies are awesome. I mean, I really don't know how to explain it. I love all of the Star Trek movies that I've watched, at least, because I didn't watch the new ones, the J.J. Abrams movies, because I'm trying to do it in a chronological order. So, yeah, like most people, I think that the best Star Trek movie is The Wrath of Khan, because that is the best Star Trek movie as far as, at least, Star Trek movies go. But I love all of them. I even love Star Trek V, which is considered to be the weakest of the Kirk era movies. It does have its problems, I realize. I get that. It's not perfect, but then again, what movie is perfect to begin with? So yeah, I love Star Trek V, so don't get upset that I just said that. And yes, I really loved Insurrection. I know I'm in the minority. I loved Insurrection. I loved Nemesis. Again, once again, I'm fully admitting that I'm in the minority on this, but I don't know what it is. The Star Trek movies grab me in a way that the shows never could, and it really feels like every show, it just goes worse. And I mean, the quality level just drops in half. It's even more frustrating because the first one was just so low for me that when I watched the animated one, even went below that, then went below that when I watched the next gen, and then when I started watching DS9, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, that was atrocious. In the first few episodes, I just couldn't take it, so I did a pretty considerably long break from it for a while. Then I went back and finished it. I started watching Voyager a while ago. It's not better. It definitely isn't getting better. I'm still on season 2 of Star Trek Voyager, and I just stopped and said to myself, hold on. I need a break from all this garbage, so I just... Unfortunately, it's a superhero TV season, so I'm watching all of the superhero shows, and on one hand, I want to keep watching those, so I don't have to so I don't have to go back and finish Star Trek, because it's one of those things that I'm kind of afraid to go back and finish it, because I'm not enjoying the show at all. But at the same time, I'm trying to go a little easy on those superhero shows, because I really don't want to watch all of them. So I'd have to go back to watch Star Trek again. And I think I talked about Star Trek way more than that show deserves on this podcast. So we've only got a few minutes left to talk about. So there's a brand new movie coming out from George Miller, the director of the Mad Max movies. I think he directed all of them. Mad Max Road Warrior, Mad Max Thunderdome, and Mad Max Fury Road. Haven't watched those, by the way. I really need to get on that. I don't know what's wrong with me, but yeah, apparently he's got a brand new movie coming out with Idris Elba and Tilda Swinton, of all people. It's called 3,000 Years of Longing. Apparently there's a genie involved. So, yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I heard Idris Elba. I said, yeah, okay, sounds cool. I heard Tilda Swinton. I said, oh, wow, that's really good. And then I heard the word genie in the mix. And then I said, oh, Sign me up. When does this movie come out? So apparently he's in negotiations to try and find a studio to distribute that movie for him. It's probably not going to be Warner Brothers who distributed all of the Mad Max movies, because apparently he's in some legal problems with them right now. They're not paying him a big enough bonus to make the next Mad Max movie, which makes him really angry. So yeah, here's hoping that things get better on that front. For those of you anime fans, I think I've mentioned in my previous podcast with Slava, I'm not really the biggest anime fan, but that doesn't mean anime fans get excluded from my channel. Not at all. If I do have fans and they're excited about something, I'm going to mention it. So apparently, what's the face? My Hero Academia, which is a show that a show and a manga series that I've heard from a lot of people that I should get invested in, because they think, from knowing me at least, they think I'm going to like it. Especially, well, I shouldn't really have to tell you guys this, but I'm going to do it anyway. So apparently, this exists in a world where 80% of the population gets superpowers, and they're going to this school for superpowers. So yeah, apparently they're making a live-action adaptation of that manga series. Yeah, manga and anime series that have been adapted into live action in the past did not have very good results. Whether you're talking about the most recent Ghost in the Shell or the Netflix Death Note stuff, and a bunch of others that I don't really remember at the moment. Full Metal Alchemist, I think, was also one. From what I've heard, at least, because I didn't watch them, because most people told me to stay away from them. In addition to the fact that I'm not really that big of an anime fan, but yeah, those things haven't really had the best track record when it comes to being adapted into live action. So I really hope for you guys who love anime, if you're watching this podcast now, or even if you aren't, I really hope for your sake that this show actually ends up being good. This movie actually ends up being good, because I don't really like. I don't like people getting disappointed about the stuff that they like. So yeah, if they were ever going to make a Doctor Who movie, and please do not make a Doctor Who movie. If they were ever going to make a Doctor Who movie, I'm gonna be there opening night, hoping that it's good. But yeah, Alexander Skarsgård is gonna be in Godzilla vs. Kong. Really excited about that. Funny how they actually got the guy that played Tarzan a few years ago to be in a movie with King Kong. Could it be a coincidence? I don't know. So yeah. What else? So yeah, I think that's about it. Nothing too exciting anymore. Wow, that's what I really love doing these podcasts, because they're just, I barely even notice the time passing. It's crazy to me. I mean, we've been sitting here for about an hour, and my voice is about to go, and I can still just sit here and talk about some random stuff. Like, maybe I should save this for next week, but the upcoming Queen biopic, Bohemian Rhapsody, is coming out, but I'm so excited to watch it. I can't wait to see it. I've been hearing about a lot of mixed reactions from it. Some people are saying that it's good. A lot of people are saying that it's not so good, that it's very generic and paint by numbers. I'm probably not gonna know which of those to actually believe until I actually see it for myself. But yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody is coming out next week. I'm assuming you're already open in a lot of international markets outside here. But yeah, so I'm really excited to see Bohemian Rhapsody next week. So yeah, here's hoping it's good. So thank you very much for watching or listening or whatevering. If you even clicked on this, if you actually made it all the way through, thank you very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Hello again, everybody. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel where I do all kinds of weird stuff like showcase all these things, you know, trailer reactions, movie reviews, all kinds of fun stuff. So, until next time, I'll see you guys next time.